Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Talking Smack. I am your host, Josh Scar. This is where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, and comics. We have a really fun episode ahead for you today. But before we do that, we've got a quick ad from our friends at the Decaying with the Boys podcast, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Judgeatorium. It's Decaying with the Boys.
That's right, it's Matt, it's Adam, two comedic co-hosts that talk about what they love.
Beers, combat sports, pop culture, horror movies, and whatever else we want.
So subscribe on your favorite podcast platform to catch new episodes dropping every Sunday morning.
And welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that ad from the Decaying with the Boys podcast. Definitely check that out. With me this week, I have Scotti, Bekkie, and Matt, last but not least. And this week we are doing what I'm hoping to be at least a twice a year thing where we are talking SMACdowns. This is fictional characters fighting it out, and we're going to discuss the rules here. But first, everyone, how are you doing today?
Oh, fantastic, Josh. I wanted to be the first to talk.
Shocking.
I am super. Thanks for asking.
All things considered, you couldn't be better.
That's
why would you talk over Matt like that? How dare you? The fight's already started.
This is going to be chaos because
everybody wins.
We are the ones fighting.
Surprise.
So what Talking SmackDowns is going to be here is we're going to take a fictional fight, a hypothetical fight between fictional characters, and there is one three-way match that is not fictional characters that we're just going to destroy the world with. Basically, the concept is we're going to throw these characters into an empty two-story warehouse, and they only have their abilities to win this fight. The fight doesn't necessarily have to be to the death. It's just to an incapacitation idea. So like Deadpool fighting anyone, eventually he would win because he would kill them because he has his regenerative powers. But someone could disembody him and he would be incapacitated to the point where they win the fight. So that's basically the general ground rules. If they get into a fight, it's just to incapacitation. So the example I have here would be Toph Grace Venom versus Tom Hardy Venom. And we're going to discuss these in like 5-minute segments. Whoever wants to go first, who do you think, or how do you think these people, or who would win this fight?
Is that really even a question? Tom Hardy. Really?
It doesn't have to go 5 minutes, but
again,
it's
going to go 10 seconds because he's going to look at him. And it's going to be like, what's he going to do? Slap him with his purse? Come on, Toph Grace. Come on. He was the worst Venom.
All right.
This one was mostly just to poke Matt.
I don't disagree with your conclusion, but I have to defend my boy Topher, short for Christopher. In that movie, I watched this movie like 2 weeks ago. He's a perfect like shithead Peter Parker and a perfect like evil Spider-Man, which for me is like that's the ideal Venom. In that movie, Spider-Man 3, Peter Parker has his turn as a shithead, but like Eddie Brock in that movie is a born shithead. He doesn't do anything that is not about himself. He's like the exact inverse of great power, great responsibility. Chef's kiss. I'm doing the chef's kiss thing right now, but nobody can see it. It's good.
He's like hell yeah evil in that one. It's true. It's Tom Hardy. He's a big giant man, but Topher is a good Venom.
I feel like the movie, getting away from that, the whole fight thing right now, Spider-Man 3 could have been better. I know the whole Avia Red shoving Venom in there when Sam Raimi didn't want to do that right away kind of boggled that thing up, but it did give us dancing Toby, and I'm forever grateful for that. So
Spider-Man 3 is
okay. So
good.
the dancing Tobey Maguire beats both Venoms in the warehouse where the Footloose song is playing, and it's like a techno version of it, and they're both so shocked at his dancing skills that it does physically, emotionally, and spiritually incapacitate them. I rest my case.
I got nothing for that. But in the
okay, Josh,
discussion of
Mr. I hate everything. I won't watch Venom. I won't watch this. I can't do it. I only eat chicken tenders. What's your big choice here, big buckaroo? That's what I'm waiting for.
I think the Tom Hardy Venom wins only because he has like T-1000 powers compared to Topher Grace Venom, which is basically just Spider-Man powers. We've seen Tom Hardy Venom get like pierced through the sternum and he's fine, or he makes a giant hole in Eddie Brock to let stuff pass through him. His power set is really odd in my opinion, and it just kind of gives him the upper hand. Plus, he is not opposed to eating people, where we never saw that in Topher Grace. So I have to assume that he is somewhat opposed to eating people.
Venom from the movie Venom, starring the Marvel Comics character Venom, understands the most fundamental thing about Venom, and that is that he has boyfriends with the symbiote. And that's why he has better powers, and that's why he wins. Even though I will defend that movie and I will defend Topher Grace, it's no contest. Also, like everybody else, they would just be friends.
All right, we got that one in under 5 minutes. Good job, everyone. That was a good practice round. The next match we have is Toph from Avatar: The Last Airbender versus Matt Murdock / Daredevil.
Oh,
I'm going into this one blind. So you're gonna hate me. I haven't watched all the full way of Avatar. I have not done it. I just haven't.
Well, then
yet.
you're out. It's a 3-way battle here. Then no, if you've seen Toph,
friends.
then it. I don't know. Toph is pretty standoffish. I don't know if she'd be friends with anyone other than her Team Avatar crew.
Matt Murdock is like a dyed-in-the-wool Catholic. Everything he does like causes him endless guilt. I don't know if he's going to fight a child, even one who's not wearing shoes.
Okay, but go back to he's got religion behind him, so he'll kill anybody.
I don't know if that's how he interprets his religion,
Catholic.
but you could make a case.
And it's notorious that the Catholics
He has
don't
tasted
really care
blood
about
before.
children. So there's also that. Scotty's with me on that one.
Catholics and children don't really mix, from what I hear.
No, they
but
don't.
There is a difference. There's a difference between the institution of the Catholic Church, and a random guy in New York who dresses up in a costume and beats the shit out of people.
He should really just change that. Then he could pick anything, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go Catholic. It's fine. I don't know. I don't think Toph's hardcore. She would have to have a really, really good reason, and if the reason is winning, then it might be her.
I mean, she's got the rock thing, so it's like that's a big advantage.
Metal. So if they're in a warehouse, I was like, the rock doesn't matter. They're in a warehouse now. I was like, she can control the entire building. So even if she didn't have any other weapons, the building is her weapon.
Well, if you're doing
Matt
that,
Murdock is a literal ninja, but she has like the earth. Sorry.
Yep.
No, you're good. So if you're talking about metal, she can control metal, and she's just clanging things around. It's going to disrupt Murdock, obviously. That's like his one big thing: loud noises, kind of like Venom, apparently. I had to go with, as much as I don't know a lot about Toph, I've seen a lot. I just haven't watched the whole entire finished the series yet. But I'd probably have to say Toph. As much as I like Daredevil, there's no chance for him.
I mean, when she crushes that door to get out of that cage they put her in or whatever, that's what she would just do to the entire building.
She does go on to invent the cops, though, and that's not great.
That is true. She does. So now you have cops versus Catholics, two groups of people who are confusing to us all.
This fight was posted by Edward McCann in one of my Facebook groups. And Edward, I hate you right now. This has gone way off topic.
What? This is better on topic than Venom. All right,
this is what you expect when you do the thing.
This is not exactly what I had in mind with talking SMACdowns. Speaking of which, we've got a minute 50 to go on this topic to decide a winner.
It's going to be tough unless someone's getting sued. Then I think Murdock's got it.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the power on her side, but they would be friends.
I agree with that.
I think she would be
like a mentor-mentee kind of thing, perhaps.
Or just commonalities. They both have some kind of outside way of seeing the world instead of with their eyes. Matt sees it kind of through sonar, and Toph sees it through the vibrations in her feet. Different ways.
They would have an uneasy alliance that would bloom into a genuine friendship.
I'd read that book.
I think that's Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Every time you say he uses sonar, I think of him just going really loud so he can see. Just walking around like, what's wrong with that guy?
That's why he's so cranky all the time, because that's what his brain's doing.
So to the point of incapacitation, we think Toph wins. That's the consensus here.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
She might not murder him outright.
Well, again, it's not necessarily to murder. It's to incapacitation.
Well, yeah, but she might just crush him under a rock.
Sorry, I didn't see you.
God damn it.
Enjoy your impending cancellation Talking Smack podcast.
We cover blind people, cops, and Catholics. Moving on.
I don't know if you listened to last week's episode. Scotty tried to get us canceled with that one too, with the last movie he'd reboot.
I will fund that project.
All right, this next one is from Rebecca here. So we have a dragon fight: Mad Madam Mim from The Sword and the Stone and Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. Dragon fight. Who's got it?
I think Mad Madam Mim. She's the crazy lady with the purple hair, and even if she can only be a dragon, she's a tricky bitch.
She doesn't play fair. She doesn't play by the rules.
She does not play by the rules. Maleficent was just kind of giant. That's all she did.
Yeah, but she's got that green fire. I can only contribute Maleficent facts because I haven't seen, I don't know that other one.
I don't think Mad Madam Mim can get as big as Maleficent did, though. So there is also the size discrepancy, like who's got the longer reach and whatnot.
That's fair. Maleficent's dragon is pretty giant. We don't see the same scale for Mad Madam Mim.
Yeah, I think Mad Madam Mim is more along the size of Elliot from the original Pete's Dragon. Maybe she can get about 10, 15 feet, but Maleficent's dragon is pretty stinking huge.
Yeah, nothing? You have no idea?
Okay, I haven't seen either of those movies in years. My closest thing to a freaking... Yeah, and they prefer other movies, like good movies like Shrek with that dragon. Huh? Throw that dragon.
I mean, that's a good movie, but all three of those are good movies.
We throw Donkey in there, it's going to be a completely different movie. We know what he likes with dragons.
That becomes a very different movie and a very different subject.
3 dragons, 1 donkey. Who wins?
The donkey.
That sounds like a Google search I'm never going to do.
We all know Scotty. It's actually a Google search. It's a Google search he's going to do right after this episode.
Yes, he's
right now.
But it does apply to everything.
I'll say based on size for the information, it's Maleficent's dragon.
If it's a fair fight, yeah. I do agree with Bekkie that Mad Madam Mim probably would not play fair. So it is a bigger toss up, but I do think Maleficent ends up winning in the end.
She's got 2 movies of her own. She has to win.
3, technically, then.
Yeah, you're right.
Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent, another one.
Maleficent, the one where she's a dominatrix.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see that one. I'll add that to my list.
I did Google it, and the main thing I got was the dronkies, which are the babies of
the
dragon and donkey from Shrek. Just so you know, there's Google search.
We clearly need to do an episode of how Hagrid came to exist and how those dronkies came to exist. Because
I know how the dronkies came to exist. It's a pretty safe Google search, and my safe search, it's off.
Did they kiss under a rainbow and make a wish? That's how babies are made, right, you guys?
No, storks bring them. You put in an order with Amazon, and then they send the storks from their warehouse, and you get a baby.
You might be on a different website.
Oh,
you probably shouldn't. You probably shouldn't say that you did that into a microphone that you're going to publish.
I thought they just were found in the woods.
That's a good idea. We should do that. Can you monetize babies?
Can't you just find them in the woods?
That one's getting cut, Rebecca. With the advent of YouTube and TikTok, yes, you can monetize babies. There, I'll put a spin on it. Now I don't have to edit.
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you guys? You could be rich.
Yeah, look at Ryan, kid. He makes like millions of dollars doing nothing.
He makes millions of dollars putting out a bad TV show that kids love for some reason. My kids watch that. It's awful.
So bad.
Next fight.
Who's next?
Let's see.
I'm going to send that sound clip to your kids so they know what you think of what they watch.
In like 10 years time, they'll be like, yeah, that show sucked. I'm sorry we made you watch this. So the next fight we have is going to make Matt's brain explode here. It's from our friends at the Lords of Swine podcast. It is Bill Gates versus Jeff Bezos versus Elon Musk.
Whoever wins, we lose.
That's the best answer. All right, moving along. Next one we got is one from my wife. Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts versus the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, but she has all the Sailor Scouts? All of them?
Let's say the OGs. Original Sailor Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter.
I know I was saying it as kind of a joke before, but Sailor Moon's whole thing is that she's friends with everybody. So
that's true. Would her and Bubble cancel each other's out?
Ooh,
'Cause
maybe.
Bubbles just kind of wants to be friends with everybody.
They would just
What did you
fall in
say
love
the-
with each other's adorableness.
Who did you say the trio were?
The originals.
Oh yeah, I was saying the original. Oh, like Sailor Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter.
Okay, sorry. Thought you were narrowing it to 3. Because Sailor Jupiter, she's tall and she fights.
Yeah, she's
Like,
the badass.
She loves
Super
to
badass
fight. And Sailor Mars, she's got a short fuse, so she also loved to fight.
But would her and Buttercup cancel each other out? Buttercup
think-
loves to fight.
Jupiter and Mars would probably go straight to Buttercup. Those 3 would have a pretty good fight on their own.
That would be like the matchup. And then Bubbles and Sailor Moon would be going to get some snacks somewhere.
Yes, they would.
If we could get back to just the scientific method we've been using for every single one of these matchups.
Yes.
As we have been
the-
very consistent.
The Powerpuff Girls do have like super strength and like they can fly. They have like laser eyes, right? They have laser eyes, right? The Sailor Scouts are magic and they've got their attacks, but they have like regular person strength, right?
So I thought that the Sailor Scouts did get enhanced strength and stuff when they are transformed, kind of like Power Rangers, where they don't necessarily look like they're enhanced, but they are.
I think that's right.
Are they doing
Yeah.
steroids?
Yes.
But they're
Magical
never called on to
steroids.
use their strength because all of their
Strength comes from their friendship.
the strength comes from their friendship because Usagi Tsukino's main power is that she's friends with everybody. Just saying. She doesn't throw a punch, she throws her magic tiara.
I think the high school girls beat the kindergartens. That's my vote.
But the kindergartners can bench press a truck.
That is true. And they do kind of destroy buildings.
They've destroyed
All the
buildings, they
time.
destroy robots, they destroy giant weird devil monsters.
They would fight because in the matchup, they're the villains. They're destroying the city. And Sailor Moon has to stop it so she can become God Queen of the Universe later.
What about psychologically? The Powerpuff Girls fight amongst each other more than the Sailor Scouts do.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if they're as cohesive as a unit.
Ray
Sailor
and
Moon and
Usagi
Sailor
fight.
Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
They-
true.
They're in each other's face all the time because Ray does not like Usagi when she's being all wishy-washy and whiny.
All I gotta say about this particular matchup, Powerpuff Girls beat the shit out of a monkey on the regular. They're gonna beat the shit out of some whiny teenagers. All right, that's my vote. I'm sticking to it.
I say Sailor Scouts, but that's just me.
I'm gonna go with Sailor Scouts only because it'll be an awkward night at home if I don't.
Insert whip noise there.
Which one does she make you dress up as again? I don't remember.
Tuxedo Mask. What do you think?
No. She's Tuxedo Mask. I know how this goes. You got the skirt. I've seen you shave your legs.
No, Tuxedo Mask is useless. That's Josh up and
Yeah,
down.
that's the question. Is who in the
Ouch.
relationship is the most useless? That's Tuxedo Mask. Or Moonlight Knight, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Moonlight Knight was his alter ego when he lost his memory. But yeah, that's still one of the best memes out there is Tuxedo Mask showing up and saying like something inspirational to Sailor Moon and then like, I must away. And she goes, you didn't do anything.
That's kind of his deal. You know what would be a good trio to add to that fight? Totally Spies.
They're rebooting that actually.
Are they? I was gonna say that's a pretty good matchup too. They'd get in there if they don't have any magical powers, but they got all that cool technology.
So we got 20 seconds left. Matt, you're the decider. I don't know if we've gotten a definitive answer from you. 15 seconds now.
Well, I guess, I mean, if I'm under the gun, I'm going to say Sailor Moon just because I prefer it.
That works.
But I don't know.
So vote 3-1. The Sailor Moon and the Sailor Scouts defeat the Powerpuff Girls. So this next fight then is Omniman versus Homelander, a battle of the evil Supermen.
They're both crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, they're both kind of unhinged. That's
No
a
matter
good
what
one.
happens, it's going to be needlessly gory and violent.
This one I do want to shout out. This one is from, again, someone from my Facebook groups. Ryan Butland is the one who suggested this one.
I mean, honestly, from what I haven't watched all of Invincible, and I've watched literally barely anything of The Boys, and I've just seen like just different things. I've read a little bit about the comic for The Boys, and it really seems like Omni-Man's just batshit crazy. Like, we'll do whatever it takes. Obviously, he destroyed like what, a whole entire planet or something when something invaded. Homelander, yeah, he's nuts too, but I just think Omni-Man might have that strength. Plus, if we're going by voice actors too, I mean, J. Jonah Jameson himself.
J.K. Simmons just give him a little bit of an edge, I will admit.
And he's got the mustache, man. Come on. Can't be.
I think that Omni-Man would win. I don't know if we've ever actually seen Homelander going up against a Superman level character. As far as I can tell, he's really just got the laser eyes and the flight. I'm not sure exactly how much super strength he has, but he also has an Achilles heel of public perception. So I think that fight would go to Omni-Man just because, again, unless Homelander is pushed to a certain point, he's not going to hit a level of just complete mass destruction that Omni-Man would.
Scotty's right. He's totally ruthless and he doesn't give a fuck about what, because that's what he does. He's just crazy. He's not even living in the same universe as anyone else.
That's only true after a point, right? Because Omni-Man's whole thing is that he's like standing in as like a cool superhero guy until the time comes to like do his thing, which is also sort of true of Homelander. Or it's not true of Homelander, but he is like ruthless in a way and has like a big media empire backing him up to like cover up all of his horrible things to a certain level.
That does put a lot more work on his end, though.
Or it puts a lot more work on the end of the people that work for him.
Maybe
fair
that's true
point.
Because they're both just like, what if Superman was bad?
They're
guys.
They're both just nukes.
What if he was a bad boy? So it feels pretty like a pretty even matchup to me. But
choose. You must. Come on, Matt.
I'm only going to vote if it's a tiebreaker. So you guys vote.
Because Matt says they'd be friends.
I think they would be friends. They would be the worst friends you've ever met, and you hate both of them.
They would be a folie à deux.
Yeah, and Superman would show up and be like, "Stop doing this. You don't need to keep creating evil versions of me."
It's fine. Then somebody would scream Martha, and he'd be gone. So back to destroying the world with those two.
All right. So I think Scotti, you said Omni-Man. Just because of J.K. Simmons. Rebecca, you kind of agreed with my assessment.
But
yes.
So yeah, Matt, there's no tiebreaker needed.
Good.
So we're gonna say Omni-Man takes it, and they would become friends.
Yeah, they'd just be the most insufferable people you ever met.
The next fight we have here, this one might be a little more niche. I don't know if all of you have seen these. So the Madrigals from the new Disney movie Encanto versus the Incredibles. This is from Bill Decker, again from one of the Facebook groups.
Oh, Jesus. My brain went really into a very savage place. I was like, damn. But they're in a random warehouse.
Random warehouse that's completely empty. Nope, no magic house.
So would that matter?
Don't they have no powers then?
Yeah. No, they still have their powers. I mean, we'll assume that the Encanto is still up and running. So their powers still exist. It's just that they're farther away from it.
That one's easy. This is Incredibles.
I think it's incredible.
What else gonna do? Burst into song? We're gonna sing about you kicking our ass. I'm getting punched in the face.
Well, and the Incredibles are a superhero team, which brings with it a certain level of like fisticuffs, where that's not really what this family is doing in this movie. They're having conflict. They're not using their powers to fight people. So I think they would be like, we're not gonna fight. And then Mr. Incredible would be like, okay, all right, I got muscles of steel. I'm also a Superman guy.
Yeah, and Elastigirl. I mean, she did that whole thing of gave her kids the speech of, this is not a movie, they will kill you. So they'd be ready to throw down if they had to.
That's a great point.
And their powers are really fucking cool.
Yeah, and I mean the only one who could fight is the strong one, right? Like there's not
Louisa.
They're not really, they don't really have powers that are that lend themselves to to conflict, or at least physical conflict.
Yeah, I think
psychologically, poor Bruno.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, on a long enough timeline, the grandmother could make them feel inadequate and bad about themselves and worthless
until Jack sneezes and blows her head off with a
until he turns into a Hulk baby.
Yes,
he eats the grandma. I think that's game. He just ripped her in half. You guys win. We'll sing a somber song.
Pick up that candle on your way out.
You did rehearse this, right? There's going to be a sad song. All right, Incredibles win.
Incredibles wins. Okay, I'm in agreement there. Next fight, we have from Scotti, the Green Power Ranger versus Skeletor.
Now there is a backstory to this.
Okay,
I'd love to hear it.
Back when I lived with a couple of my buddies, we'd always buy the wrestling game, and we'd download people's created characters, and we'd do the Royal Rumble, and it came down to Skeletor and the Green Ranger. And my God, it was an amazing match. It was so much. It was a tradition. Like every day we'd watch one match, and every single freaking time it was like one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. We'd sit there and we'd have like four of us like, oh my God, it's a cage match. And it would be like a 30-minute long thing. Like, this is better than any pay-per-view ever. I don't even like wrestling like that. I just wanted to watch, random things fight. And it's like, holy shit, now it's in my head that Skeletor and the Green Ranger are fighting each other all the time.
So I do have
That's
to
the
ask,
backstory.
which version of Skeletor are you going with now? Is it the new Kevin Smith one that's voiced by Mark Hamill? Or are we going with 80s Skeletor?
Oh, this is the 80s.
Those are technically the same guy, right?
More or less, yeah. They try to continue on from the 80s continuity, but I feel like they are pretty distinctly different, considering the new Netflix Skeletor literally just killed He-Man within the first 10 minutes of the first episode.
Gotcha. I haven't watched He-Man since I was a kid because I got in trouble at school for kicking a kid. So
you? No. Okay. I'm like, okay, somebody needs to Google Power Ranger murder, because I think if it's the Green Ranger that was also a murderer.
He didn't murder people.
Look it up. It's either that or the red. It's the Green Ranger or the Red Ranger.
I mean,
Someone's
if we're
murder people,
it was an
ran
actual.
somebody through with a sword.
It was the Red Ranger.
Oh, in real life. Okay, in real life.
In real life.
Oh yeah, that's
like I skewered somebody, but
that guy would win. I think Skeletor would not be expecting it.
Ow, shit.
He was
Can Skeletor die if he's
Cole
already
Evans,
a skeleton?
the Red Wild Force Ranger. So it wasn't the Green Ranger. It was one of the Red Rangers.
It was Red Wild Force. Well, there was
and also the
Green
actor is not the same as the
Ranger.
character.
There's another one. There's two Power Ranger actors or people that were in the show committed horrible murders. It's insane. The other one is they threw these people off a boat and drowned them. It's crazy. So those guys would win in my book. The evil Power Rangers.
That's not the point. My question to Scotti about the 80s Skeletor versus the new Netflix Skeletor, to me, I think it would be more interesting. I get what you're saying with your WWE create a character story here, so it makes it a little more fun. But I think like either Rita Repulsa or Zed would be a better matchup for 80s Skeletor, because that would be a complete battle of incompetence.
Here's the thing.
Who's less incompetent?
When I Google, as suggested, Power Ranger murder, one of the things that comes up
You can't do that when I'm drinking
which-
my waters, Matt.
which Power Ranger is the strongest.
Oh,
And when I drop that down, according to the character's history, Tommy is a legend among the Power Rangers community and is considered to be the greatest Power Ranger of all time. He's not just the Green Ranger, he's the White Ranger. He's Zero Ranger V Red, whatever that means. The Red Turbo Ranger, the Dino Thunder Black Ranger. Thanks, Google. This guy's a legend. Skeletor he's like a muscle guy with a skull.
And he's not good at anything.
Yeah.
He's good at being evil.
But is he? Because does he usually win?
It's not about the wins. It's about the quality. It's not about the losses. It's about the quality of the wins.
And the quality of his wins, I don't think are very good.
All right, so we got like 5 seconds here. So what is the consensus here?
Green
Skeletor
Ranger.
versus Green Ranger.
Green Ranger, if nothing else, if my greatly researched and very passionate speech couldn't convince you, he's got a giant robot.
Also, good triumphs over evil, as we all know.
But could the giant
that's a
robot
cool
pierce our
blues.
magical warehouse?
Yes, it's a giant
Well, if you're-
robot.
Well, if that could brings on a whole nother discussion. If he's bringing the robot, does he get to bring his battle cat?
Yes,
That makes him faster. You can get around
and
that.
robot
Come
still
on.
wins.
The battle cat is still pretty small.
It's fast and agile.
It's a big cat, but it's big for a cat.
Well, what if he does like the Puss in Boots eyes and Green Ranger's like, oh, and then he stabs him. See? There's ways around it.
There's no precedent for that.
Someone's getting stabbed, okay? It's gonna happen.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Green Ranger as well, just because 80s Skeletor is completely incompetent. He would never be able to finish a plan. So sorry, Scotty.
It's okay.
Just one more thing before we move on. It's Skylar DeLeon. He was convicted of triple murder. That's not the stabby guy. That's another guy.
He murdered a whole family.
Yeah.
Threw him off a boat.
Is this supposed to be a family-friendly show? We're talking a lot about murder and stabbing.
No.
Okay.
I have this listed as explicit every week.
Hell
Scotty and
yeah.
Bekkie are on.
So from our friends at the Scottish Murders podcast, we have Master Chief versus the Green Goblin.
The Green Gobbler? Why
No,
is your wife fighting the Master Chief? I just don't get it. She would win. She'd kill him, snap his neck. Is this
Green
Willem
Goblin.
Dafoe Green Goblin? Or is it just comic Green Goblin? Or is there a certain version we're using?
I'm going to go with the comic book Green Goblin in this case. Although, given the fact that they want to go against Master Chief, maybe they do want to do the movie Green Goblin because the armors kind of line up.
Oh, that makes sense.
All right, let's go Willem Dafoe.
Depending on which movie you're watching.
Well, I haven't seen the other Willem Dafoe Spider-Man movies, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, I'm just happy that I finally went to a movie theater and I didn't get a deadly virus.
I'm thinking that's a different kind of movie theater.
Master Chief has like a energy shield that protects him.
But
and
isn't it limited?
It can
Yeah,
be
if you
worn
take a lot
down.
of damage.
Yeah. The Green Goblin's got that thing he flies on, and he's very good at it. He could be at a distance throwing his little bombs, and then he can shoot missiles from it, and he has melee weapons. They're pretty evenly matched on that.
Master Chief knows how to operate many vehicles. Some of them
Is there a warthog in the warehouse?
No.
Maybe.
I feel like a glider would be a lot more useful in a warehouse situation than any Halo.
That'll fit.
Mongoose isn't
Chief.
weaponized
They
though.
seem like they're pretty large.
The Mongoose like a four-wheeler.
Mongoose is
It's a slightly bigger
God,
ATV.
someone hasn't played Halo Infinite. God. Some of the mongooses have rocket launchers on them now. Also, Master Chief has
I've driven a
grappling.
mongoose in that game. I have not fired a single rocket or missile.
You're not driving the right ones, buddy.
I
Master
gotta
Chief
keep
also
playing.
has his hook shot or whatever. If you aim that thing at a vehicle and you shoot it, Master Chief zips right to it and takes over the vehicle. Bing bang boom. Now he's got now he's got a glider.
Because I'm like, if it's a wheeled situation versus a gliding situation, glider wins because you just pop those fucking wheels.
Yeah, all Master Chief has to do is just get on that glider. Now he's got a glider.
But you know what? The one thing Master Chief doesn't have that Willem Dafoe's, I know you guys have seen the memes. He's got that dump truck back there. You know what I'm saying? That's a win. But you could hear him clapping. He's coming. You know where he's at.
Wait, the armor wouldn't reduce that? He's not in a skin suit. He's in armor. You wouldn't cover his ass.
No, of course not. It's like it's one of those things. It's a psychological game. It's like you hear it. Clap. Oh, where is he at? He's clapping somewhere. He's flying.
But then
not even the glider you hear.
Use his powers of seduction to turn it into like an enemies to lovers situation.
Willem Dafoe is very charismatic.
He is.
Master Chief only has a thing for virtual girls.
As far as we know.
That we've seen so far.
Maybe emotional unavailability seems to be his thing. Willem Dafoe has some emotional unavailability.
Willem Dafoe's pumpkin bombs turn you into a skeleton immediately. I will say that.
Yes, that too.
That said, those guys were just wearing like fancy rich guy suits and not big suits of armor. So who knows?
All right, we got 60 seconds to decide a winner.
I think Green Goblin.
I'm gonna go with. I think I'm gonna go Green Goblin just because Willem Dafoe is fucking crazy, so he's gonna do whatever it takes to win. And Master Chief is like he's like a 7 foot dude and fights aliens, so it's like he's kind of limited, I guess.
I think it's Master Chief has guns. He has that suit that if you believe the beam, it jacks him off. He's got an army behind him.
Phrasing.
No, that was the intended phrasing.
That was no accident.
He's got an army behind him, and he constantly is getting blown
But
out
he
of
can't
space
get that
and
army in
surviving.
the warehouse, Matt. It's a one-on-one fight.
Yeah.
Matt.
You give him a mongoose, one guy can ride in the back of that thing.
But it's not
That's-
Master Chief
that's
and a
true.
friend with a mongoose. It's Master
He
Chief
brought a-
versus Green Goblin.
All right, I'm just saying, if there's an army guy nearby, like walking down the street, he'll get that blue dot over his head and be like, "Here I come, Chief."
Here comes Chief.
Master Chief regularly gets blown out into space and survives.
I'm just being contrarian here, but I do agree. I think Master Chief actually pulls out the win, if nothing else, because of his radar.
That means it's 2-2, though.
Yeah, then
We don't
well,
have to tie.
Then we have a tie. I mean, I don't have here. I've got this little stupid coin that my work gave me. I don't know if you can see it. It says pajamas and pants. If
Okay.
it goes pants, it's Master Chief. If it goes pajamas, it's the booty boy.
as unexpected from Josh's mouth.
It went pants. So what did I say? That's Master Chief.
That's you
This is a
guys.
really scientific way to determine it.
That was.
I
really
mean, we
enjoyed
could-
that.
We
I'm
could have
sitting
just
on
went with
science
Beckie's
myself.
choice and they just fall in love.
I like.
And
I like.
We
I
can
like
add it
my
to the
version.
movies that need to be made that we're going to do next to the Passion of the Christ 2 Expendables sequel. It's going to be Master Chief and Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin love
Passion
story.
of the Christ 2, Electric Boogaloo.
I'll say one more thing. I'm not trying to spoil anything, but Green Goblin does a power bomb in this new movie, so
He
he's
does.
got some moves. He power bombs a guy through a floor. So
Yeah,
does.
he's more badass than ever.
Speaking of Peter Parker, our co-main event is from our friends at the Ocho Duo Parlay Hour, ODPH podcast. Peter Parker versus Ben Reilly. This is one that's going to just chive Matt's gears.
Oh, he's ready. Look at him.
they're the same guy.
It's-
They're
Way to
literally
not
the same
understand
guy.
clone rights, Matt. Way to just disregard clone rights.
That's true.
How do we even
Just
tell the
say-
difference between them? There's like one circumcised, one's not. Is that how we just
Isn't
figured that
Ben
out?
Reilly like blonde? Doesn't he like bleach
Once
his hair
Ben
or
Reilly,
something?
once Ben Reilly shows up and he's like, "Oh, there's another one," he dyes his hair blonde. But they
If
have
they
like,
got a mask
if,
on, I guess, a suit, but
but if we're talking like just matchups, which we've done for only talking powers, like we have for every single matchup so far, they're the exact same.
It's true. They are.
So who is the better tactician in this case then?
I guess you could argue that Peter Parker.
Yeah, he's not worried about his hair. He's
He's-
just worried about the fight.
he's probably
He's not worried about his hair.
He's worried about, his appearance, wanting to be different, standing out, picking different moves. It's not the time to do it.
Ben Reilly the same age or is like one of those faster cloning processes. So if that's the case, then Peter Parker has more experience.
Well, it's both because he was made into an adult clone, but then from there he just ages regularly. But Peter Parker does have more experience as Spider-Man because he like goes off and fucks off for 5 years or whatever it was. I know too much about Spider-Man.
No such thing.
So like during all that time, Peter Parker is still being Spider-Man. And I'm saying Peter Parker, and you know who I mean, even though, as we all know, Ben Reilly was originally intended to be the real Peter Parker, and Peter Parker was the clone. Don't get me started.
The Clone Saga is a classic. I don't know what you're talking about.
That
Isn't there
said,
another one? Like another
There's
clone? Isn't it like
several-
Kane or something like that?
oh yeah, you got Kane, you got Spider Side, you got, I think that's all of them actually, but there's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of those fucking guys running around.
If we're
s-
going off his powers and N plus experience and not worrying about your appearance and not being secure in who you are as an individual person, Peter Parker.
That said,
Peter Parker.
Recent comic books have had Ben Reilly as Spider-Man backed by a big, massive corporation, meaning he's got a lot more resources
True.
at his disposal than Peter Parker.
So he's a sellout, is what you're saying.
I still go Peter Parker.
Everybody's got to
Straight
eat.
kids. Yeah.
Peter Parker.
It's got to be Peter Parker, if only because, like I said, they're the same guy, and they'd be friends, they're brothers.
So you're saying it's Peter Parker no matter what, just because you'd be right either way.
Right. No matter what happens, Peter Parker wins.
Peter Parker, but then you find out, was it Peter Parker?
Whoever wins, Peter Parker loses because he also won.
I like it.
that.
Guys at ODPH, you I think Matt caught on to your game and he beat you at it. Peter Parker wins and loses at the same time.
That's satisfying.
All right.
I feel good about that one.
It's like Schrodinger's box of a fight.
Our main event, this one is from Lewis. Bekkie and Scotti, you should probably know what this one is going to be. It is the Man of Steel, Superman versus Goku.
Why would he do that? It was the one that he wanted, though.
So I actually will be abstaining from this one because I know jack shit about Dragon Ball Z, other than like each episode is about 5 minutes of actual footage and everything else is just I'm going.
You just described every anime ever.
Goku's a strong guy, shoots lasers. That's all you need to know.
So my question is, because Lewis wouldn't really get into it.
That sounds like Lewis.
Superman's weaknesses are kryptonite and magic, plus a handful of other things. Are Goku's abilities magical, or are they just like inherent? Or I don't know how else to phrase that.
I wouldn't say they're magical. They're more. Well, I mean, if you're going with Dragon Ball Super, the latest thing, he's a god, so he's gonna beat the shit out of Superman. I'm sorry, that's already my stance. I've already got to it.
I was gonna say that's same thing.
You already know I'm not a big fan of Superman at all. But I just Goku achieved godhood essentially. So it's like, really, I get it. Superman's fought a lot of tough guys, but he also died to Doomsday. So I mean, it's kind of
Superman rules. This is probably the time that I'm going to say this and mean it the most out of any time I've said it this entire time we've been talking. They would be friends.
Yeah, they would fight.
They would be enemies turned to lovers. Yes,
because Goku's big thing is he wants to test his strength, and
That's
Superman
true.
would be a huge test of strength. So he would be like, all right, let's
true.
fight, and they would not like kill each other, but they would definitely like push each other as far as they go. It'd be a great fight.
That's a good point. We can both be right. They would be friends, but they would still.
It would be an epic showdown. But you're right. They would the good naturedness would be there in the end. But who would have a leg? Well, otherwise, I agree with Scotti, because I was gonna be like, he's a god. Can you fight you fight him? Because if he could be beat, then he wouldn't be a god.
But he has been beat. He one of the first things that happens to him is he gets a hole blown through his chest. Just saying, he goes to heaven and has to train in heaven.
He's a god. He's still doing god things.
It's an interesting matchup just because, like, in their respective worlds, they're like the most powerful being out there. It's a weird scale because, like, with DBZ, especially Dragon Ball in general, it just keeps getting more powerful until Goku is like, I'm a god because that's the only way I can be super powerful or whatever. I don't know. I don't watch anime. I'm not a nerd.
Who has the most potential for outside distractions? Because between the two of them, Goku doesn't give a fuck about his family or
my
really
kid's
anyone.
getting beat up. Whatever. You still want to fight?
I'm busy.
Superman, oh no, someone said Lois.
Yes, I was gonna say. And whereas Superman is clearly dealing with some outside distractions and has a bigger heart than Goku does, so that could be a big weakness of his.
That means the moral victory will always be Clark Kent's.
Yes, that's true. He would just by being Clark Kent. I still think Goku.
You guys are probably right. Superman rules. I'll fight that battle to the death. But it's at a certain point, it's like we're going to heaven and fighting gods and like creating energy balls the size of the planet. My hair is long, gold. I'm a monkey now. I just melded with a guy.
Goku does fight racist white aliens, so there's that going for him.
Yeah, that's true too.
So I guess I got to give that. If we're talking about sheer matchup, I'll give it to Goku.
Oh, it hurt him to do it.
I'm seeing that Superman action figure next to Grogu on Matt's shelf there behind him.
That's actually just a Yoda. It's just an old little Yoda. Yeah.
Oh, it's an old Yoda?
It's just a tiny little Yoda.
Not every Yoda is Grogu, okay?
It's hard to tell.
I got to wait for you to tell. They're both dumb.
Just because you had a bad experience, I abstained from any Star Wars ones just because I didn't need Rebecca going off on a big Star Wars is dumb rant.
Star Wars is dumb. It's not good.
Rebecca versus Star Wars.
We should do that.
Dark match.
If it's about who's liked more and better overall, Star Wars wins every time. But that's a loss I'm okay taking.
Well, you know what? That they might not, because in my experience, everyone who likes Star Wars also hates Star Wars. So
yeah, I don't understand.
We just love so much. That's what happens with Star Wars. When you love something that much, you can't help but hate them a little bit too.
So it's like a marriage?
Yeah.
Okay. Another reason I'll never get married, so I don't have to compare it with Star Wars.
So hard.
I love you so much that I hate you. I'll think about that tonight when I'm sleeping in my queen size bed with my dog.
Okay, so that's gonna do it for the inaugural Talking SmackDowns. Like I said, I do want to do this at least once a year, if not twice a year. I want to do this on our not official, but like the episode that marks our 52nd episode, which means we've produced a year's worth of content. So I do want to bring it back for that episode because
it's bold of you to assume that we're gonna like you in a year.
But who says I'm bringing you back, Miss I Hate Star Wars?
That's true.
So with that, we will close out this inaugural episode of Talking SmackDowns. We will be bringing it back. Maybe we'll be bringing some of our rotating cast of characters here.
You said that in a very stilting voice, and I don't trust that I'm ever going to be on this podcast ever again.
Trust that gut feeling. I mean, no, we love you. We love you, Rebecca.
Rebecca versus everybody from Talking Smack.
She's the only one that works out from the crew, so she wins.
She's going to start her own podcast with hookers.
I don't know if I fully count, so I'm going to sit that one out.
Matt, you want to come on my secret podcast that I'm going to make to usurp this podcast?
Usurp?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
what's an
I'm
usurp?
podcast agnostic.
Okay, great. I'll be the cop, you be the Catholic.
Well, I don't know if you do episode titles, but I think you have one.
I'm going to write that down.
And if you don't, you should consider starting.
Well, Rebecca, we need you back at least for the upcoming Futurama episodes. So
my favorite.
And then you're fired, but at least you got a forewarning.
Acceptable.
So, thanks again, everyone, for listening, powering through this rambling of hypothetical fictional nerd fights. Everyone here is ending the day as friends, as promised, and we appreciate you again taking the time to listen to us. I'm Josh. We've got Scotti, Matt, Rebecca, Bekkie. You can find the podcast at Talking Smack Pod on Twitter. You can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page. And if anyone wants to throw out their social media, they can. So I'm leaving the floor open for you.
Did I promise that we would leave as friends?
That well, if we're in the warehouse leaving as the four of us, we became friends.
Josh, you want to shout out your OnlyFans?
I can't even come up with one.
The real Harry Potter. He'll show you his magic wand.
Oh, good God.
Expecto Patron.
I would subscribe to your channel if I could. I make cool art stuff and nerdy embroidery on Irene.imagines on Instagram. But I'm old now. I don't know how to do any other Instagrams or Twittering or Facebooking. Yeah, wow, I'm the only cool one. Cool.
Scotti, we threw yours out last week. You're at Scotti Don't Know. There is no extra W. I looked that up, so I made sure to edit that out.
No, there's one on my Snapchat. I can show you pictures of Josh's wand.
Ron Weasley and Harry Potter together forever. That's their joint OnlyFans. Matt, you can be Dean Thomas.
I don't think I want to be any of them, honestly.
Yeah, no.
Grown man.
Only if you're Hagrid, Bekkie.
You're
a hairy wizard.
This is the longest exit of the podcast ever.
It's like a Midwestern goodbye right now. That's what that is.
It really is.
You can set this all out. That was amazing.
I'm not cutting that one out.
Hey, don't you guys have like lives to get back to?
I got a bed to get to. I'm tired. I got work in the morning. So with that, thank you again, everyone, for listening. We appreciate you taking the time. And everyone, have a great night. Everyone here, thank you again for taking the time to participate. and we will see you all next time.
If we live till next time.
My sucky comment is, this didn't dissuade you from doing it ever again.
Oh, hell no. This is too much fun. My face hurts from smiling and laughing too much.
You listed all those rules at the start, and we
Rules are made to be
threw them right out the
broken.
window.
Well,
I already got
It's
my
us.
pick for the next fight too. Josh versus Harry Potter.
Well, I'm not a wizard, so I would lose.
Well, we can't
Yeah,
do it
but
because they're one and the
Harry's
same.
an idiot, and Harry doesn't kill. And if it was a customer service situation, Josh would win.
Harry ends that series being a wizard cop who kills people.
Flying a little fast on that broom there. Oh, he's got a gun. Get my wand.
I want to do.
Also, he was invented by a turf, so the moral victory goes to Josh, as always.
As
that-
always, I always have the moral high ground, apparently. What is your dog doing?
I don't know.
It got really weird really quick.
So that was very intense. He was like, I think he was sniffing my nose ring. I don't know what he was. That was really weird. Being strange. I was delighted by the Dr. Morbius versus white noise syndrome. I thought that was very funny. Just so everybody knows.
I didn't want to trigger Scotti with that one. I went after Matt with this one with two really.
What do you mean
big trigger
trigger me?
ones.
I think Morbius looks good.
We all
It
know
does.
you're a big Morbius stan, and you would.
It's not me. It's not me that's the gigantic Morbius fan. It's my wife. It's not me. I don't mind Morbius, but looking at the movie, I'm like, I was actually excited for it to come out. When I was like, they actually look like they did a good job of making the character look good.
The
You know,
character
Jared
design was
Leto-
fantastic.
Jared Leto.
I'm not convinced they actually made a movie.
I'm going
It's
to
been
say,
delayed 2 years.
at this point, if your movie and your characters don't look good, I don't know. You gotta stop it. You have other problems. Everything's gonna look good. Why? We don't need more bats. So it's a weird choice. I don't get it. I literally, as it came on in the theater, I went, no. And then I was like, no, why?
It's got me more excited than the god awful Wonder Woman movie that just came out recently.
Wonder Woman's villains are a lot like Peter Parker's villains. They're all really bad. They're bad villains.
You're hurting
What?
Matt.
What did
You're
you
hurting Matt.
What did you just say?
I'm sorry, but Spider-Man has the best rogues gallery in all of Marvel. DC's best one is Batman. So I mean, those two have the best rogues
A
gallery.
bunch of his villains are just like, hey, he was a great guy, and now he's a villain, and you're just like,
that's how they're written. That's not how they
That's
are.
the fucking point.
No, but that is so stupid. I don't get it.
Peter Parker was going to be a villain until Uncle Ben died. That was Peter Parker's arc. That's what makes him so compelling. And then that's what makes his villain so compelling, is that they completed that villainous arc. I don't mean to be mansplaining to you as the only woman on this episode of the podcast.
Bo's upset about it.
He's
I'm
like,
just
what?
saying. Just saying. Every time I had to read one of those, I was like, oh, I wonder if he's going to turn out to be a bad guy. And then you're like, oh, what a surprise. He is.
Oh,
And
looks disgusted at your take.
I don't
I
know
hope
what
he
he's
bites
disgusted
you
by.
right in the arms.
Right in the arms. Do it. Fight me. Fight me. Fight me. Fight me. That was like a yawn over my fist. He didn't really bite me. Fight me in the face. Do it. I dare you.
So with that,
He's a vicious, vicious pit bull.
they're so vicious. He's just a big cuddle butt.
He is. He's mad because we're in the bed, but I'm not laying down. And he's like, what are you doing? And I muted it. He keeps making little noises like, like, come lay with me. And I'm like, just wait.